Hey gang, welcome to Ozone Late Night. I am joined in this episode by Off the Shelf Reviews hosts Gary Nicholls and Iain Buckingham as we talk about our love of film and why if you see the name Disney in front of a TV show or movie, it's probably not a good sign, especially if it's an IP that you grew up loving. Here we go. All right, everybody, welcome back to another Ozone Late Night. I am joined for this particular episode with the hosts, well, some of the hosts, because I know there have been other people on the reviews over the years, so I shouldn't say it as if it's the only people, but the two hosts that you most probably frequently see if you watch Off the Shelf Reviews, which you should. I am joined by Gary Nicholls and Iain, not Nottingham, Buckingham, because I fucked that up. And unlike some people, I don't hide my dumbass mistakes, as any of the regular listeners, all 10 of you know. So
you're forgiven. Yeah. It's early in the morning where you are. You've done us a courtesy by recording for our evening times.
Yeah.
Frankly, it probably wouldn't matter if it was the middle of the night because I just have a cheesecloth brain. But yes, it is early, but that's okay. This is probably the second time I've done a recording with this far of an offset because I did one with somebody who was in London, and I think it's a similar or close to the same time discrepancy. Yeah. So that's fine. It's not a big deal. So the reason that I wanted to invite Gary and Iain on is because I have been watching their reviews lately, and they are movie fans like I am, and Lando is, well, I'm making him into one anyway. I don't know if he was ever as much of a movie fan as I am, or for the weird shit I watch, I guess I should say. But I really liked the format, and the reason I started following you guys is because it felt like what I've managed to, through coercion, get my co-host into, where we're doing commentaries on the actual movies and then just posting them onto Patreon, because there's no way YouTube would ever allow me to post the actual movie with a commentary because, fair use is a fucking myth in this country. So, but one thing that I don't do is I don't do any research on people when I bring them on outside of whatever I've seen as far as their output. So let's start with, how long have the two of you been, or how long has Off the Shelf been running? It's at least 10 years, because I know I've seen 10 or 11 years on some of the videos, but how long has the show been running, and how did it start?
We see that ourselves. Like, oh shit, we've been going that long, Iain.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, the maths I work out is I have a son. He's about to turn 17. He was about 2 when we actually started recording. So we've been going for about 15 years at least with the recordings on YouTube.
Wow.
But obviously, Gary and I have been friends since before my son was born, where we would sit around and we would talk about films a lot of the times while we're actually watching the films.
Yeah.
And so that's really where the format really came from, was, you get your friends around, you sit them down, you get a film from Blockbuster and you start watching it, and then you start talking about what's good or bad about the film while you're actually watching the film.
Yeah. I've had lots of film discussions with people, with, my friends, but Iain was the first person that I was talking to about films that the conversation went more than triple the amount of length of time you would have a normal conversation with someone about a film.
Yeah.
And that was... so like a kindred spirit in that sense of enjoying films and having also watched a vast array of films. Not saying we were brought up by the silver screen, but the silver screen was a big part of our growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we had that shared connection there, and obviously then the love for films. So it was always great to catch up then on different films. And so I guess the show came about because we so naturally enjoy talking about films.
Yeah.
People told us, you should record this, you should put this on the internet, and it was like, well, I don't know.
Do we want to record it? Like, we then got to sit through the editing process, and then we've got to understand how, copyright systems work, and how social media and the internet is changing
Then
over.
videos that had to be less than 10 minutes long, or they were broken up into bloody, chapters.
Yeah,
Archaic as it was.
Yeah, I do
just
remember
But
there
yeah,
used to
it's
be
also
that
been
time
great
limit.
then to
Oh
just share
God.
those films now with an audience. And now through things like Discord, if it's still around, I don't know for much longer. It's been a great way to then connect with people and then have people share their films with us now.
yeah.
That's been like the most rewarding thing from it at the moment.
Now, were either of you, did either you go to film school or anything like that, or it was just growing up loving movies? Because I know some people who, or actually a good amount of people I've run into who do shows that are reviews, one or the other of them have been in film school or wanted to be filmmakers. Was that ever it, or was it just the fact that you loved movies?
Well, I mean, I wish I could have gone to film school. Um, where we grew up in Plymouth in the southwest of the UK, like I've lived here all my life, and I've always said like this is the asshole end of nowhere. Like when I was in school, if I'd said, "Oh, I really want to review films when I get older," you'd have got this funny look in your
Yeah.
from your teachers or your parents saying, "No, you got to go out and get a proper job."
You'll never even leave the city. So,
Oh yeah, computers won't. I heard so
yeah.
much that computers will never amount to anything in the future. You need to just have like a normal job, whatever that was. So as soon as I left school, I had to get a normal job, which was just cleaning wise. But through my downtime, then I'm watching films and I'm going to Blockbuster and I'm going to like cheap VHS stores and I'm buying like all of the worst, crappy films that you can get for like 50p. And then you're rushing home and you're watching it and you're just like, oh my God, what are they talking about? Oh my God, it's 2001 and they're about to release Alien versus Predator. Who ever thought that Alien versus Predator movie was ever going to come out? And so then, yeah, you're just following film after film and development after development of, like I said, technology and movies being changed to the point now where you do go on YouTube and you see like everybody has a camera and everybody has an opinion about films that they've been watching over the course of like 5 years.
Yeah.
And I've been sat here with 30 years worth of watching films like, motherfuckers, you don't know what's bad. You weren't there.
It was because we've gone out of our way to watch some very bad stuff.
It's not our fault. We then get given films that are bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm not pointing fingers at 28 years later, Bone Temple.
But
Well,
yeah, to answer your
actually,
question, Joe, I did. Sorry, do you want to?
no, no, no. Go on, go on, go on. We'll get
Yeah,
back to the
I
bad movie thing because I find that to actually
yeah.
be something that's come around. But no, no, go on, please.
I was a media technician in a school, and then I then became a media and film teacher at GCSE and A level. But I wasn't like the full teacher. So then I was going to go to university to become a media or film teacher. But when I'd finished my media arts course, I decided I did not want to go back to teaching again. I did some teaching for mental health charities. But I was like, it was much more rewarding teaching adults and seniors how to get, to grips with current technology. That's basically what it was. I was like, I don't want to go back to teaching children because I've been back to some of the schools and the I don't want to get into the politics of of governments and the way school systems work, but I was like, you know what, I'm not a fan anymore. I'm not doing
Well, it's
that.
interesting as well, like you said, because at the end of your university course,
Yeah.
you were doing a zombie project.
That's right. I did, yeah. So I did short films. I mean, back at like GCSE level, I was doing short films. As soon as I got
Yeah,
a video camera with a VHS video camera, I was making home movies. I
yeah.
was making Red Dwarf
Because we'd
sitcoms.
all we'd all watched Evil Dead back in the day, and then
Yeah,
we'd all
video
read
nasties. We
the
had them early.
we read the books of Sam Raimi where he's like, "Oh yeah, I just took a camera out into the woods and I started filming with
Inspiring.
friends." And
Yeah.
you hear all these great stories, but like I said, when you finish university, you put towards this video, and your
Well,
teacher or something said that it wasn't
uh,
going to do very well.
Well, yeah, I mean that's one of the things that really annoyed me. It's why I didn't actually go to my graduation day. I was still just outraged. But one of my projects was you had to develop something new for television, and I developed a pilot episode for a zombie TV show, and so we did a 10-minute short, which then
I was a zombie.
yeah, Ian was a zombie. He attacked me. He came downstairs, attacked me from behind. It was fun doing makeup and stuff like that. But yeah, once I'd finished my presentation, made the short film, edited it, submitted it, all the research that I'd done into it, I was explaining how there's never been a zombie TV show, and I was like, and I basically went into basically The Walking Dead. This was 2 years before The Walking Dead became a huge TV show. So I could never, by the time the graduation had happened, I wanted to go back and be like, will you now give me a first because you failed me on this? And in your closing, you said there will never be a successful zombie TV show. And now 2 years later, The Walking Dead is like on billboards everywhere. And I'm like, I was fuming.
Yeah.
I was absolutely fuming. And
Fuck
so
the system.
I did go back to university and I asked for him. And I was told, I'm sorry, but he's in the hospital. He has had a heart attack. I was just like, like I'm just
Because he
going
realized
home.
he passed on somebody who could have provided an in for The Walking Dead. So, see?
Yeah.
So I was glad. I mean, I also wrote a short story, which basically was the beginning of 28 Days Later. I basically loved the idea of somebody waking up from a coma into the apocalypse. And so it's kind of happened twice. It was like, God damn it. Like I had this idea before I saw it in film. So annoyed.
Yeah.
So anyway, I did study film at university with the intention of teaching it. But this is now 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So only retained so much of it. But I do like to keep up with other YouTube critics, other... I used to obviously love what they do. I've forgotten their names. Names have escaped me. Siskel and Ebert.
Oh yeah.
And right now I also really love Mark Kermode. I've always loved his taste, and I loved how he introduced me to a lot of films. And so I also love that Iain and I now also have the ability to do that and recommend films that people wouldn't maybe turn their noses up, like The Ninth Configuration, and like, hey, I actually give this a chance.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I gotta watch that
I did
one.
have some
I
film
gotta watch
education.
that one because I love Exorcist 3 so much. I like it so much better than the first movie. And for a long time, people were like, "You're crazy. How could you like the third one better than the first? It's a classic." I'm like, I get it. It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's shit. But the third movie is just a better movie for me to just watch because I'm not entertained by watching a young girl being tortured by a demon. Yes, I understand it's impressive and it's groundbreaking and it's a horror classic. Sure, but it's not entertaining. It's not fun for me. So I like 3 because Brad Dourif is a fucking lunatic.
And Scott as well. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like those two in a movie together, you wouldn't necessarily have thought of it, but then you see it, you're like, oh, this is it, man. This is how you do a movie. So, but I got to watch Ninth Configuration because I've heard, oh, well, if you like Exorcist 3, you'll probably like Ninth Configuration.
It's the unofficial middle film.
Right. And that's the thing is I remember that movie having the same reputation as 3 where it's like, but nobody ever talked about it. But then I watched the review and I'm like, yeah, okay, I gotta, that'll be one of our commentary movies. Cause that's a movie I think because Lando's a writer and he really keys in on good writing. So I want him to see that because of the writing of it, more than even whether the movie itself works or not, he goes in on writing. Go ahead.
Question for you: when you record your podcast, record your commentaries, do you watch the film? Is it a first-time reaction, or do you watch the film, then watch the film recording the commentary? Most
of the time, it's almost always a first for Lando because he simply does not. I had to basically. Lando has 2 kids, 3 kids, but one is out of the house, and so his time is extremely limited. So the way that I had to do this was right. And so what we had done for a long time, because he's back on the East Coast where I lived until I moved out to California. So he and I became friends back east when we were in college together. And so when I moved out here, the way that we maintained our friendship was playing video games. And originally, it was just we'd call each other like you're talking about with movies. And I don't remember which of our wives said, why don't you just record this? You've been talking for 3 hours, screaming into the phone about what you like and don't like about a movie. Why don't you just release this? And I was like, who the fuck's going to listen to that?
And you'll be surprised.
Really. It's crazy. But as far as this, so what I started doing was I sort of wanted to see if he would even go for it. There was, I think it was Megalopolis was the first one, because he was talking about it. I'm like, we should just, instead of playing video games for this 2 hours, let's just block it off and let's record, because this is either going to be a train wreck or it's going to be a secret classic, and it ended up being both at once. And so most of them, I bring almost all the movies. The only one he suggested is actually what we're watching tonight as of this recording, which is, I think is it Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde for our Black History Month one, which,
Okay.
I mean, it looks like a trash fire, but I'm like, hey man,
It could be worse. You could be watching Melania.
or Jack and Jill, which is going to be the gold standard.
Jack and
Actually,
Jill,
the worst,
God, why did you say
worst
that
movie
name?
we've watched is After Last Season, which was a piece of flaming dog shit, insultingly bad.
What was it? Was it called
boy.
After Last Season?
After Last Season, Red Letter Media had covered it, and I thought it would be a fun joke film. It's not.
I'm
It's
giving it a
miserable.
quick wiki now.
Of course you were.
Our previous worst film had been Drawing Restraint Number 9, which was Bjork's art film with her husband at the time, which
Oh my God.
I actually kind of liked, but Lando hated it because Lando calls me the abused wife of movies, which is true because I will go out of my way to try to defend anything. And that's the thing when you were talking about bad movies. I don't want to criticize if I feel like people were trying. So my thing is I'm going to try to extract whatever good there is. I'm not going to tell you it's a good movie, but I will try to highlight the good of it.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
And
you
the-
can't
it's
do
like
that all
with
the
Chud.
time. This is where I've got to kind of argue sometimes. This is where I get in trouble because you do meet a lot of people who are like, well, I liked it. And you're like, why? Why did you? Why? What did... There's good movies and then there are bad movies.
There's
And
good opinions and there's wrong opinions.
and you've got to, you've got
Okay.
to balance those movies with the bad movies.
And I do not disagree, and I'm not disagreeing with that viewpoint
But-
at all. And I do very clearly tell people, hey, I'm not telling you should watch this. What I try to do is the thing that I think is interesting is the movies that I say somebody should remake this because there's 60% of the good movie here. Instead of remaking Ghostbusters or another goddamn fifth iteration of whatever that we already have a good version of, take this movie and fill in the potholes. Why are you remaking shit that already works? Here's a movie that's half broken, but has an interesting starting point. Make a good version of that. That's what I try to, I mean, not that anybody's listening to me, but it's like, that's
you
my
can,
angle
because
on it.
If you take into account film companies that want to make the money and they're trying to reignite franchises, it all starts to get really murky.
It's that you have to remake the most popular things then because people remember it more.
But that's how that sometimes works and doesn't work. You like we said, with an example, look at Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters 1, absolute instant classic, came out at a really perfect time. Ghostbusters 2 was a cash-in.
Unfortunately.
To try to keep the money making going.
An effort, a
It was
great
an
effort.
Then you get the remake with the all-female cast, which was a massive dumpster fire, and whoever came
My
up with
eyes
that
are rolling out
idea-
of my head.
Yeah, like if the cameras are on, you can see Gary cringing at the mention. But then I bring up Afterlife, and I know a lot of people like Afterlife, but I still have issues with some of the massive, huge plot lines in that, and they still went ahead and made another sequel for it.
As a legacy sequel, I'm not offended by it.
But it's the corporate money making machine.
It's I mean,
The first one made money,
that's a
so let's
bit,
make another one.
It's like if it's going to happen, it's like an inevitability. It's a popular IP. They're going to have to keep making more of it, and most of the original cast are aging out of it. We've already lost one of the Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, I'd rather they do it now while they're still into it. Like Dan Aykroyd is loved his Ghostbusters Resurrection, and the amount of enthusiasm you see in his eyes when he talks about what's happening with potential Ghostbusters stuff, I'm like, I love the man. And so he is like still the beating heart of Ghostbusters. So it's still there for me. And I don't feel like it's been totally mishandled. I feel like with it being in Ivan Reitman's, is it Ivan or?
Yeah, it's his son, yeah.
Yeah, his son, like it's now in his hands. I feel like he gets it, but I feel like he does also have the studio
He's
in
got
his
the
ear.
studio, yeah.
But I feel like if it had to be made, it's been handled as well enough. It could have been so much worse.
But then
which we already saw.
Then it gives people like us enough fuel and ammunition to sit down with our friends and record 2 hours worth of recordings to say like what was good and what was bad about it. But
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I love that it felt more like that, the cartoon, the real Ghostbusters. It felt like
But
a chapter from there.
going along with what Joe was saying as well, I always love the fact that like there's like a whole plethora of historic films that none of us have ever heard about that
That,
we're just pulling out from the bin somewhere and going, hey, I wonder if this is any good because I've just sat through the remake fucking Ghostbusters and that was a trash fire. So now I'm gonna watch. What were you watching? Did you say it was Black Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
I think it's Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde is the actual name of it. Yeah, I've got it here. Hold on. It's from, when is that movie from? I mean, I had to literally rip a YouTube version of it. It's Dr. Black, Mr. Hyde. So yeah, that's, I don't know if it's going to
on
be
YouTube.
It's 1976, and the only person in it I recognized was the Lambda 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 guy from Revenge of the Nerds. And the drill sergeant from Spies Like Us. That's what I know him from. It's the only person in it I know, and it looks like shit, but I don't care. I mean,
Yeah.
we watched a movie titled, there's two titles. One was Bells, and the other was Murder by Phone. And the only copy. No, listen, I'm going to tell you seriously. Murder by Phone, for people who are old enough to remember analog telephones, is really interesting because it all centers around a person killing people by calling them and blowing the phones up in their head. And it's actually the end of the movie. I shit you not. Lando and I were both, and Lando does not put up with the same amount of bad shit as I do. So the fact that he liked it too is kind of my barometer, whether I'm off in outer space or not, because I will put up with a lot of shit. But the end of the movie is the killer is trying to kill this woman, and the reporter, they're calling her simultaneously, but because the killer's using rotary and because the reporter's using touch tone, he gets to her first, and that's why she lives, which is fucking insane. The tensest moment in this whole movie is two people making phone calls, and only because rotary is slower, which kids won't even know what the fuck that is now. They won't know what a rotary phone is, but you're watching him rotating the dial, and the other's going, doo, 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 and he gets there first. That's the movie. But it's bizarre.
That's the great thing about classic movies like that, because you'll find somebody who watched it as a teenager, and they'll be like, "What the hell is he looking at?" And then they'll do like a whole Google search about these classic old phones.
Yeah.
And then might be inspired to make a classic Stranger Things style 70s style horror movie based on this killer rotary phone that they Googled, and it's like a whole circle of, fashion coming back in, and people wanted to get back into making bad horror movies.
And you see, Ian, you've made my point. That's the desperate hope I have, is that one of those kids watches our video and remakes one of these movies instead of the studio and says, oh, this is way more interesting than, whatever thing that they're putting out. We can, because now it's so cheap to make movies. If you really want to, you can do it for a lot cheaper than certainly when we were young. You can, you could shoot it on an iPhone. And realistically, you could release a movie that way. Filmmakers are doing it, so it isn't.
Yeah, 28 years later wasn't it? It was all iPhone.
Yeah,
wasn't Crank all shot with like disposable cameras as well?
Yeah,
like there's been ways. Yeah,
I mean, you look at people like Neil Breen and bloody Tommy Wiseau.
No,
how they just threw it all together and made two movies that absolutely. Well, obviously,
Neil Breen's made like 20.
Yeah, his aren't as successful, but the fact that Tommy Wiseau's movie got remade by Seth Rogen, didn't it?
Yeah, it was more like the making of. So it was the film being shot. So yeah, broke the fourth wall. But yeah, I mean, that became a. I wonder how that grew. I mean, obviously, we know it grew word of mouth, and it was a viral thing. But like, how did that really start? It's kind of nuts.
It's like the band movies. People go, "Oh, I've watched this film. Where did you get that from?"
Yeah.
Oh, I found it here legally on the internet. I have to ask Joe, what is your view on, say, international cinema, like for example, Bollywood?
I adore it. I love it. I make a point to try to review a lot of non-American movies, because I think that it's very easy for Americans to get trapped in an American point of view.
Yeah.
I don't like, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in here that I don't like. But that's been for a long time, where everybody bases it on the American blockbuster, which is fine. I always say this, like whatever you like. I'm not trying to tell anybody that if you're entertained, you're wrong. You should be Look, life has enough times it's going to kick you in the balls or the tits or whatever you got. It's going to stomp you down. So whatever gets you out of that and makes you happy, do it. I'm not trying to tell anybody they should feel wrong for liking, hey, if somebody likes Jack and Jill, good for you. There should be at least 2 people who like it. So I'm sure there's 2 of you out there. Hopefully you find each other and live a happy life, because somebody should from that fucking thing. I'm never going to watch it. But I think that I love like Lars von Trier stuff, which is very nihilistic and bitter, and like the Kingdom series.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that series. And it's so demented, and it ends with the entire world ending. And I'm like, oh, this is great. This is fantastic. Or like Stalker is a movie I never shut up about. It's one of my favorite films of all time. And most people can't make it 20 minutes through that movie because it's
the
almost
Russian
3 hours
one?
of not much happening. So
It's been on our list for about a decade, I think.
Yeah, we've been aiming
I
to
think
do
I
Stalker
sent
for a
that
while.
with my list. I think Stalker was on there. I think. I don't remember now. Yeah, because I don't shut up about it because I'll tell everybody to
great
watch
movie.
it. It is. But I know that would never make it in an American-centric audience. They would never sit through it. Solaris is the same thing. I did a 4-hour review of those 2 movies with a friend of mine from college, like last year or the year before. 4 hours talking about it. Nobody's going to sit through that. They're not going to sit through the movie. They're not going to sit through that. So I love European films because I just think it's, I like like those 70s French lesbian vampire movies that like Jean, I don't remember the guy's name, was making, where it's just like,
I've
oh,
got a
this is
couple
just
of
your
them
fetish.
downstairs.
Late night TV.
This is not a movie. This is something for you to jerk off to, but that's fine, man. Make whatever you want. That's okay. Like, I'll watch it.
I did a little study in grindhouse cinema, so I started buying those random ass films because I was like, if I see it in front of me on DVD, it's so bloody rare. No one else is buying these. I was like, I'm just going to start collecting some of these obscure, absolutely forgotten films.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was meaning, because obviously when you were talking about strange films to watch, if you ever get the chance, Indian and Indian 2.
Hold on, I'm writing this down.
You're going to have to flavor it a little bit, Ian, because you're really underselling it.
I've got to undersell it because I don't want to spoil it too much. These were 2 films that I came across on Netflix a couple of years ago. And it dawned on me at that point that Netflix has this whole Bollywood section of movies that you can watch. And I thought to myself, why? Why has Netflix got this whole section of films that obviously not many people are going to delve into? They're going to stick to obviously the more well-known ones. But it was obviously because, from the way I understand it, these movies have been sourced out. The money's been paid to Netflix. You can put our films on there. And I just happened to watch a trailer of Indian 1, where you've got this oldish kind of guy who is going around and he's killing people who are causing corruption in the Indian government. And it's like 2.5 hours long. Both movies are like 2.5 hours long. They have their dancing and singing segments as normal. But the sequel, the original I think was made in 1996. And then the sequel was made like 2024 and then released in 2025. And I thought, fuck me, they made a sequel to this movie?
All these years later.
All these years later. I kind of have to see where this goes. So in the sequel, because it's more present day, they utilize social media and mobile phones to promote this known vigilante killer around India so that people can back him up, so that he can try to destroy corruption in the government, which has obviously come back because he didn't destroy it in the first movie.
I would absolutely watch those movies. It's funny too, because I just saw a review of a Bollywood movie that's a ripoff of Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't remember the name. It was,
right.
It's like I can't pronounce it, I'm sure, but it looks wild. No, I'll pronounce it wrong. I mean, I couldn't even get your fucking last name right, and it's on the goddamn credits of every video. You think I'm going to be able to pronounce that? No, of course not. So, but
just to flavor Indian 2 to you, there's a sequence where the assassin guy fights a bunch of guards to get to this main one guy, and then instead of killing him, he hits him in these pressure points on his body that forces his victim to pretend to be a horse until he dies. And so this guy just literally hops his way out of the office that they're fighting in and then along a motorway until he jumps off a ledge and kills himself.
Oh my God, I have to watch this now. This sounds amazing.
Quite outrageous in places. It's so
No, see, I eat this
wild.
stuff up. That's the kind of stuff I'm always looking for, because the reality is I'm not even somewhat. I'm pretty bored with a lot of the stuff that everybody watches, because I kind of know what it is, especially American stuff. You know what the formula is. They're never going to kill a kid. The hero is always going to live. Like, it's okay. I know where this is going. Like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Do I really think Ethan Hunt's going to die? Of course not.
It is a proven formula, so regurgitate it on and on and on and on. Yeah.
But it's also proven that the formula starts to wane thin after a while. I mean, this year we've got Scream 7. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I stopped at 3. And you're bringing back legacy characters. You're reprising the same old tropes.
I think even Hollywood knows that it is at a point of being farcical, but then again, you look at the Friday the 13th and the Nightmare on Elm Streets, they went on to, almost double digits. Jason did at least.
Yeah, but we were bored by that point.
Yeah, they kept reinventing themselves, but yeah.
Dream Child and New Blood, with kids with psychic powers. We wanted better horrors.
But we wanted more. But now we're getting more. But I think Hollywood is also aware, because was it the Scary Movies are coming back?
Yeah.
And that's because there have been so many horror sequels that have just run themselves into the ground that it's worth making a parody now of how bad they've become.
You get some rarities, though. It's like, particularly in horror last year, was it? Or last year and the year before.
Last years have been good for horror, I feel.
We had Substance, which came out, which was amazing. We had Sinners that came out, which was amazing. But then that's because they're being helped by all these other crappy horrors that they say are the best horrors of the year, but they're not.
The generic stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think horror has always had this exception to it, because it was never respected to begin with by the studio system and the awards and all that shit. So they've always kind of been able to do weird stuff with horror movies, like Long Legs was really good. Substance was really good. Sinners. I mean, these horror seems to routinely come out with a year where there's really good high-end stuff, unlike everything else, because again, it just seems to be like the bastard child of cinemas. Nobody wants to touch horror, even though, like, again, Exorcist, everybody knows The Exorcist, and it's regarded as a classic, yet it's a horror film, and horror films are for kids, or, necking teenagers. Okay, and so what?
Yeah.
But, it is like the Indian 2, like that immediately I'm like, oh yeah, I want to watch that stuff. But it is amazing that, people watch them. They're obviously making enough money. The Friday the 13th series was really interesting because they did try to keep doing different things, like the fifth one where it's not actually Jason, and nobody liked it because it wasn't actually Jason, so they had to get rid of that really quick.
What are we doing with Tommy Jarvis?
Yeah, I like 7 with the psychic shit because it's a risk, and I like Psychic War with Jason. I think they didn't do enough with that, and so it's not a great movie because they wasted it. But it's a neat idea, is having a psychic girl. What do you do with Jason when he's unstoppable? Okay, put a fucking superhuman against him, and then he's actually going to have to stop and consider. So I like that shit. I dig that shit. I like, even when a movie is not good, which 7 is not a great movie. It's got interesting ideas, but at least they tried to do something.
Seven's the psychic one.
I've only ever watched that one once because I really didn't like it.
And you can literally go part 6 to part 8 without actually seeing it, because he sinks him in the boat at the end of 6.
Yeah.
And then at the start of 8, he comes up from the chain and literally,
you know what? That's exactly how
he literally raises him and puts him right back.
My mental canon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I go straight from 7 to 10 because I have no love at all for 8 or 9. I think those are just complete wastes of movies. So
Come on, Manhattan. It's got that punching
No,
in the
okay,
head.
Ian, look, I lived in New York most of my life. They didn't fucking do nothing with Manhattan. If they'd actually utilized it.
He's only actually in Manhattan for like 3 shots.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Jason
New York
goes
versus
to
Jason
Manhattan.
is such a great
Is the
premise,
film.
and they did fuck all with it. They didn't do anything.
Yeah,
so come on.
Well, in fairness, to be fair, he's in Manhattan longer than he is in hell when in fucking Jason Goes to Hell, because he doesn't go to hell.
I agree, and that's why I don't give a shit about that movie either. But I mean, imagine if they hit Jason with a subway fucking train. Like, there's so much stuff you could have done.
That would have been cool.
And they did nothing, except they have the one great shot where they cleared out Manhattan, which looks beautiful. It is. It's a great shot where he's standing there, And then nothing. You took a big wet shit on the rest of the fucking movie. So, no, I don't. So I go to 10. Because again, shoot him into space. I like the Hellraiser in space too. So I'm good with this stuff. It's fine.
Yeah. It is the favorite one to watch because it has so many memorable and iconic kills in that film. And even though it's so funny, it's still so brutal, which makes it funnier.
Do either of you remember how it starts? Because I watched it.
Is it Cronenberg and
that's Cronenberg,
Jason?
Yeah. Well, he comes walking down with his cronies, and they've got Jason.
Isn't it the Crystal Lake Scientific Institute to study
with
Jason
a bag
or whatever?
on his head. And there's one guard, just one guard sitting there watching him, right? And he sees Jason, and Jason's staring at him. So he walks over and he puts a bag on Jason's head, and he walks away.
Yeah.
So then Cronenberg comes walking down with his cronies, and they see this body stood there, and they lift the bag off his head, and it's the guard, and Jason's hiding, and you're like, wait, so Jason broke out of his chains, killed the guard, chained the guard back up, put the bag on his head, and then hid in the rooftop to wait for the next group of people to come in?
It's very out of character for Jason, isn't it? I mean, I expect that from like Michael Myers, maybe. But...
Such a great
all
opening.
I'm going to say is, as far as Jason X goes, I don't disagree. There's no logic to it, but it's also a joke movie. Let's be honest. This is not a serious movie.
They made it to keep the rights because Freddy versus Jason was still going on behind the scenes, and they're like, we need to keep the rights. Make a movie quickly so we can keep the rights so we can finally make Freddy and Jason.
Yeah.
And the fact that this line exists in that movie, which I will play right now.
We love premarital sex.
That's a great sequence.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, is if you didn't get the joke by then, that scene makes it very clear. Look, this is a joke, everybody. This is not meant to be taken seriously.
It's a massive
I love
joke
Jason X.
right at the beginning, because the guy gets his arm chopped off by a machete and he's screaming about it, and he gets taken on board, and they just literally use the nanobot to rebuild his arm, and you're like, that's a great plot point. I wonder what that will do to Jason. And then you get Uber Jason, and you're like, this movie rocks.
Yeah.
That's actually my only complaint, is that you don't get enough of Uber Jason, because it really should have been a longer amount of time with him as the metal man, like fighting more androids. That would have been better.
Yeah.
But still.
All of the Friday the 13th game, fans were asking for the Jason X suit, and the developers were like, maybe. Oh, in time. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
What a train wreck that whole situation was. Jesus. That game was mismanaged from the beginning. I liked it, but holy shit, that went down the toilet quick.
I only just found out today that the Camp Crystal Lake series is still in development.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they lost their showrunner. I think they cancelled all their plans, what they were doing, and started over again.
Jesus. It's like I don't hold much hope for the Halloween game as well that they've got planned to come out, which is what, like, Dead by Daylight,
it's
kind
the
of
people that did because now they've done Friday the 13th, then Predator, and then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and now over to Halloween.
We've got Halloween coming, and we've got the Hellraiser game coming, and
that's totally different. The Hellraiser one's a single player.
Oh, the Hellraiser game looks really good to me, man. That looks great so far.
Yeah, who would have thought we would get something like that?
But
feels true to the lore. Doug Bradley's been talking positively about it. He's been good to not give any secrets away.
Things always look good at a distance, and then you have to pay 70 quid for it, and you play it for 4 hours, and you go, oh, you duped me again. You bastards.
I really hope Hellraiser's good, because it's the same team that made the last Evil Dead game, which was just a full multiplayer game, but you could tell the love of the people at Saber who that made that game. They loved.
Then why did they shut it down, Gary?
Why
did they shut it down?
The people that made the game are not the people that run the business.
Yeah.
So but the passionate people that made the game are worked on this Hellraiser game, and if this does well, you can only imagine. Like Bruce Campbell says, he's not going to do Ash anymore. We could get another Evil Dead game that has a single player experience if they can show what they can do with this Hellraiser game.
Well, they've got
it should hopefully pave the way for more horror, because how do you even conceptualize Hellraiser as a first-person video game?
Well, when we saw Scorn, when Scorn was made, I was like, that looks like
but also then not a walking simulator through an HR Giga kind of art book.
That's what I'm worried about with this
great
new
experience,
one. I think it's going to be a cross between walking with puzzles and just building up all the lore of Hell and Hellraiser, which will be really, really cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we've got Evil Dead Burn coming out later this year as well.
The new Dead
supposedly.
film, yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
More horror.
More horror.
I think the primary problem with like the Halloween game is I don't know how you make that interesting for more than 10 minutes. It's Michael Myers works in the first movie and that's it. It just it's not a concept that has. They tried to make it have legs, but it doesn't unless you go supernatural and then. Well, then, okay, I've seen this before. Again, the Halloween stuff, anything after that first movie just seemed pointless, except for 3, which is so fucking bonkers that I love it because it makes no sense. But at least they didn't just resurrect Michael Myers again. They tried to do something different. So I have more respect for that than Halloween H2O or Resurrection or the new ones or whatever. I just have no interest. I didn't bother because I don't care. But the Hellraiser game... And I liked Scorn. Actually, the thing that pissed me off about Scorn was the combat because it was so bad. But I didn't mind walking through it because it was beautiful to look at. So I was okay with that. It was
grotesque and beautiful and like, yeah, it sparked your imagination because you tried to understand what this world was, how it got to this state. It was,
Well, plus I'm a huge Giger fan. I love Giger's stuff.
Yes.
So to see somebody basically doing his work as a game... I mean, I have the art book. It's gorgeous. If you don't have the art book, the Scorn art book is fantastic. Better than the game in the end because I never finished it. And somebody's like, oh, you could just avoid the combat. And I'm like, motherfucker, I don't play games to avoid the mechanic of the game. So I'm not going to finish it by avoiding the combat. That's not a successful game, but I loved it until it started getting bad. The other advice I would give everybody is don't pay full price. Just wait. You can wait. And if it sucks, it's going to be half price or less really fast. And you can buy it for cheap and enjoy it. There is that too. You can do that. So you don't have to buy it on day one. I don't buy anything on day one because you're going to spend a week downloading fucking patches for it anyway. Oh, what's that? Your shit doesn't work? Can't connect the server? Shit is bouncing through walls? Just wait. Just wait. It's ridiculous.
I wish I could, but sometimes I get impatient.
You do get mad.
I am a very patient person, but sometimes if it's a new film that's coming out, I'm like, I've just got to go day one. I've got to be in the cinema. I've got to go see it. Or if it's a new game, like new Resident Evil coming out, I'm like, I've been holding off my hype and excitement. It's the least excited I've been for it, but I'm like, when it hits the Friday morning, I'm like, download, install, play now. Like, I don't care how much it costs. I need Resident Evil in my life.
I will say, actually, over the years I've known you, you've actually helped me to hold back on buying
That's what
stuff.
I mean, exactly. I've been very patient with stuff. But,
you go like, oh, this is out. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to get that, but I haven't got the money at the moment. And then you get it and you go, it's shit. And I'm like, yes, I saved my money.
Yeah. Some things I've just got to jump right into, like new Hellraiser game. Sign me up day one. I want to be on that. I want to see what they've got.
Yeah, I probably will do that too, just because it does. This is such a stupid thing too, but it's almost like I want to support the fact that they're even making it the way they're making it, even if it's bad, which is such a dumbass mindset because you should support good stuff.
Don't say it's dumbass because I almost did that with Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. So, like, I'm a massive Killer Clowns from Outer Space fan. I've loved the film since I was a kid. And then they were talking about turning it into a video game. And I was like, oh, I have to go out and I have to buy that. But I was knee-deep in playing Evil Dead at the time. I was trying to level up all my characters for that. So by the time Killer Clowns was coming out, the only reason I was going to buy it for full price was just to support the game developers.
Yeah.
I didn't have time to play it, and I didn't...
There's so many of those types of games.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily want to play it, but I was going to pay the money to support these people because they'd actually gone out and made the game. Unfortunately, I didn't because houses come along and you have to fix your roof and you have to get rendering and families and all that kind of stuff.
That was it. It wasn't a failure, but it did flop.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's. Yeah,
it's also goes into hand with your mindset when you're like you're a Resident Evil fan or you're this game fan and you have to see it on day one because secretly it's for yourself, but you're also paying the people because you're so happy that they've made it. Yeah. So it's a great mindset, Joe. You also have to balance it with how much money you have.
Yeah.
No, that's true. I know I don't, and that's another reason I tell people to wait because it's like games are just becoming more expensive, and I'm like, well, if you can wait, it will go on sale. You will be able to get this later, or if you're really lucky, they'll put it onto whatever service you're part of. Steam doesn't do it, but like Xbox Gold or Live or whatever that is called, if however long it exists, but or the PSN thing, because don't remember what game just that I kept meaning to play, and I kept forgot about it, and then it went free, and I'm like, oh, okay, well now I can actually play it because it's on the service for free. So I was kind of smart to completely forget about it. Yeah, that new Resident Evil, I haven't been excited about Resident Evil ever since, honestly, 4, because I like the old style Resident Evil stuff where it's zombies, the Romero stuff. And once they went to the
100% with you there, yeah.
Parasite, I was like, okay. There was plenty of Raccoon City stories to tell. Just look at the movies. You can tell lots of stories, even if they don't fucking make any sense.
Do you want to, though? Do you want to?
Okay, so...
Yeah.
I have to admit, and anybody who's listened to our show knows this, I am Mila is on my top 3 list of all time. So I watched all those movies, and I really just had to kind of hold my face and go, yep, but she's gorgeous. Just, it's okay. She's gorgeous. Stop. It's fine. This doesn't make any sense. Who gives a shit? It's okay. She's gorgeous. Stop. It's like fucking what's his face in Clockwork Orange. That was basically me to myself.
Oh, yeah.
I was grinding me teeth watching those films. Those films left me with the biggest migraine I've ever had in my life.
It really is astonishing how bad those are. Almost something that people should have to watch to understand how badly you can adapt something.
Like you've seen, fan conventions, people cosplaying more convincing than the actors in those films.
I'm almost impressed by it. It's almost
in a way, yeah. I just can't believe
I were to find out,
like 8. Is there 6, 7 live action Resident Evil films? Another one on the way.
Yeah, I think part 7, the final chapter, was the very last one with Mila in.
Yes, yeah.
And then you got Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah, and now the new one that's being
and
set
then
in
the
the
newest
hospital.
one.
Yeah.
And that's what amazed me, is that after watching the Paul W.S. Anderson series of Resident Evil movies, I was like, oh, you really can't get worse than this. Final chapter was badly written, badly filmed. The editing is terrible. There's no continuity. The special effects are fucking borderline, just absolute
Comical.
trash. And then you made Welcome to Raccoon City.
Yeah.
Which just made Final Chapter look like a really competent fucking work of art. And after Welcome to Raccoon City, I was like, oh, you really can't get worse than this. This has got to be the worst state of Resident Evil that there ever has been to make. And then Netflix came along and went, hey, no, look, here's our TV show, Resident Evil. And I'm like, oh my God, it gets worse.
Rest in peace, Lance Reddick.
So you both might be aware. My taste in shows might diverge a bit because I actually enjoyed Alien Earth, but we're not going to start on that. We'll be here for 3 hours. I know. Lando did too, so I'm not alone. He liked it too.
Okay.
So at least
I'm going to have to ask then. Please tell us, what did you enjoy about Alien Earth? And I will not be critical.
No, I'm going to start right here. I don't give a shit about continuity if the people making it don't. It's like, Ian, you've said, if I'm watching a movie, I'm watching the movie, and I don't care if it's stupid, I'm watching the movie, right? I'm not going to stop. You wanted me to watch this, I'm watching.
That this Alien is in its own timeline, separate from the film.
But you have to also accept that if there's no continuity, that they've already made the mistake themselves.
I think the guy who made it had an idea of what he would have done with the alien concept. And that's what he made. Now, if you're somebody who is going to have everything line up and it has to be consistent with the stuff that came before, don't watch it. I think I said that in my review. I'm like, you will be pissed off. If you love Alien and it's going to bother you that something gets changed about it, that is, and I'll admit, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know how the first Alien movie comes after that series, but I don't care because I just decided to accept the series as what it was. And I really like Timothy Olyphant, and I really I can't remember the actor's name who played the cyborg, and they made the show for me along with the little. That's it. Those guys are the reason I like the show. Their back and forth and their mentalities, that's what I'm interested in. I really wouldn't have given a shit if the xenomorph didn't even show up, because the little eye thing was enough for me. That eye sheep was the best fucking character of the whole year of any media, was that fucking eye sheep. And I'm sorry that he came off the sheep, frankly. I would have liked that sheep to win. Everybody's dead, the sheep walks out. Great.
Sheep versus alien.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, but as far as it being in line with the other stuff, no, it doesn't make any sense. And I just don't care.
Yeah.
So
As a standalone show, it does its own thing, which is absolutely fine because by this stage you should be accepting because Prometheus and Covenant do their own thing as well. The problem that I have is when you have a company who owns the franchise, who makes its own thing, and then just does member berries and nod backs, but pretends that you're not supposed to nod it back. So, okay, so Alien Earth isn't connected to the Alien universe as we know it. That's fine. Then don't spend a whole episode establishing a bunch of characters on a ship like you're establishing the crew from Alien, because you've already told me not that the Alien universe isn't connected to this.
I'm rather, rather glad that they did it in a TV episode instead of doing it as a remake movie of Alien.
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad they did it as an episode.
And they could have left the xenomorph out of it, like you said, and not had them in for the entire first season and focus completely on this eyeball thing. But they also knew that they couldn't sell a show called Alien Earth without showing the alien in it. So they showed that in, and then they drip fed and teased this eyeball thing. So when the series ends and you see the eyeball climb into the corpse of the guy who'd been chest bursted and it sits up, as the audience, you sit there going, oh my God, I can't wait. And now we have to wait. And it's such bullshit, because if they don't capitalize on that and they don't make a season 2, we have a complete season 1 of Alien Earth.
Season 2 has been greenlit now, so it is coming.
Yeah, so did fucking Camp Crystal Lake fucking Friday the 13th TV show, and they restarted that thing like 4 fucking times.
So, 2 things, because I don't disagree with anything you're saying. What I wonder about, and the reality is, this is the stuff that we really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't know whether Noah Hawley, the guy running the show, wanted to downplay the alien stuff, and 20th Century said, no. We're not making this unless the alien is all over this motherfucker. And if you're going to make an episode on a ship, we'd like to remind people what Alien is. So can you kind of do that? I don't know what actually went on. So I don't disagree that it is much like Prometheus, where I don't know whether Ridley Scott is full of shit when he says, well, I really didn't want to use the alien, but I was forced to by fan demand. Was he? Or did he think he was clever? Because Ridley Scott's writing, not all that impressive over the years. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
I love it visually, but
yes,
not
well,
right.
we've known this since Alien 1. You know, obviously Ridley Scott's kind of plagiarized the idea from Dan O'Bannon, who then had to fight for his input to be held for the movie. So now you fast forward 30 odd years since the first movie came out. James Cameron's had his imprint into it. David Fincher's obviously had his, but taken his name off of it. Josh Whedon, we don't even mention his. So I've always looked at it as Ridley Scott looked at it and went, right, okay, I need to establish myself a franchise because I need to make money from this ongoing franchise. Because I'm getting older.
Considering he's never written an Alien film, it does. I hate his kind of ownership over it, that he's lauded over. And
man,
then
I agree. What is this
everything?
shit where he gets to steer this fucking thing? Yes, you made a pretty movie. Shut the fuck up.
Because he directed the first one.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he directed the first one. 20th Century Fox are like, well, we're gonna, like we just said it with all the games and films that obviously get repeated every year. 20th Century Fox go, we have this Alien franchise, we need to make money from it, we'll give it to Ridley Scott because he's told us confidently he has a script that we just have to help finance.
This was at the same time. This is what bugs me, is that Neil Blomkamp had already met with James Cameron and Sigourney Weaver and was
they were
signing
doing
up
all
in
their
Alien
things.
5. And then Fox went, no, we're going to give it to Ridley Scott. He owns this more than them. It's like,
because everybody also knows that James Cameron was also just wanting to do projects to finance his own Avatar project, because now James Cameron has Avatar as a nest egg, as one of his original ideas. He couldn't do that with Alien.
This was also in the wake of the 2 Alien versus Predator movies, so it's understandable why they were like, we don't want to do another one of those.
Yeah, we want something beautiful and deep thinking. All right, I'm going to bring in all these religious aspects and sci-fi ideas like I did with Blade Runner as well, directed by Ridley Scott again, who says, hey, I made Blade Runner. No, you didn't. Fucking, was it Asimov was the writer, or Philip K. Dick?
Philip K. Dick
wrote it. You just you converted it again. You didn't make Blade Runner.
You didn't write the screenplay.
Even Harrison Ford has told you that he acted one way and you wanted him to do another way. With Alien Earth, I think Ridley Scott was in the background saying, "Oh yeah, we should try this and we should try that to try and get some money in," because he was obviously an executive producer at the time.
Yeah.
So if the show had exploded and become one of the greatest shows of all time, hey, Ridley Scott was there to help us. Here's some extra money. Here, you carry on your project.
Yeah.
But
I still kind of think it's funny that in all of the Alien Ridley Scott stuff, there still hasn't been a single Alien Queen.
yeah,
It's like he just can't do it.
He can't accept
He can't
it.
admit that Queen, can he?
He can't admit it because that would admit that James Cameron has done something better than him.
Yeah.
But maybe that's also like Joe said. It was Noah's input from the into what his story, Ridley's input, the studio's input.
So Ridley's interference.
Yeah, all of them are trying to create this new idea, and it doesn't play out. Now, on top of that, this is why when we come back to say Predator Badlands, and I don't know if Joe's seen Predator Badlands yet.
I have seen it. Yes, Lando and I both watched it. We both quite enjoyed it for what it was.
Quite enjoyed
I should
it.
say
There
that
we
way.
go. Now, I will
I'll sit in quiet protest for a moment.
Gary's going to sit there and grind his teeth until they're only nubs. And I feel that that's because you had one guy who had a bit of success from another Predator project. So he was literally copying what he'd done before, not beat for beat, but just enough that if you've already seen it, you know what you're getting. He's got a bit more of a financial budget because Disney are like, we want this to go to cinemas. And they're also not telling anybody that they're going to sell it to other streaming services first before they put it on their own streaming service for free. And so they're making buck back from it, and they don't care if it establishes the Predator as a villain or as a hero or whatever, as long as fans of the franchise go and watch it, spread word of mouth that it's a good movie or a bad movie, and it makes more money.
So
Yeah, I hate
in
it.
terms of Badlands, I'll say this for it, because it's not like I universally adored it, but I realized what it was doing. And again, anytime
Yeah.
I see the word Disney anywhere, I'm like, okay, you might as well just chop at least 25% of the quality right off the top. You're not going to get anything imaginative out of Disney, really, because they can't possibly risk offending anybody ever in their lives, because the money machine
totally.
must never stop for even a nanosecond. So that's the first
totally.
problem. Right there. Is Disney owning a lot of the shit we grew up with is a fucking capital P problem. But that's the world we're in. What are we going to do about it? I can't fight Disney, obviously.
They're also kind of protecting it by having it under one umbrella.
Well,
It's not.
I
being
don't know
lost.
that they're protecting something by diluting it. I think that
Yeah.
I don't think Predator would have evaporated if Disney hadn't bought them. Predator's too valuable. Somebody could have done something. I think the problem with Disney is they are so terrified to take a risk. I'm not saying they never do it. It happens now and then. But
Yeah.
the first
it's
Predator
only
movie...
usually with an original IP that they would take such a risk. Usually.
Right. But Predator was established as an adult, gory film. Like it's a hardcore action film for adults. Badlands is trying to thread this sort of in-between where it's like, well, the Predator murders things, but we can make it where he's just a misunderstood teen. Now, if you had paid me to make a movie about the Predator, would that have been my first choice? No, but I know what it is. So, okay, I have to just accept this as the premise.
Yeah.
Is it entertaining as that? And outside of that little creature, which was fucking Baby Yoda vibes the whole way through, which pissed me off immediately.
Like, we'll sell merch with this one.
Yeah.
No kidding. I mean, you can read that goddamn play from 2 yards out. It's just terrible. Yeah. But outside of that, I liked the android. I thought she was funny, and her fucking fight scene where she was separated into two parts was something I never expected to see. And once I got used to seeing
ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It is, but that's the movie.
Now, am I going to expect this level of martial arts from all of the other androids from the Alien franchise?
No, but that's the specialty about Badlands, is that, as Joe said, it's
connected though, so I've got to try to.
It's being sold to us as fans, but it's also being sold to a whole new audience, and the whole new audience outweighs us. Mm-hmm. So, here's
the other thing, Gary. how about we should expect that level of martial arts from our fucking androids? I'm fine with that because I grew up on Hong Kong action films. So if that's the standard, let's embrace it. I'm all for it. I don't want to see boring fights or gunfights.
We can't just have Lance Henriksen walking around talking to everybody. You know, we can't have, fucking David Johnson fucking just regurgitating crappy ass lines from a previous movie that, you know, shouldn't exist in this timeline. Instead, we have a woman ripped in half and her legs do one thing and her arms do another.
It's a cartoon. It's fine.
Well, it is. And I wouldn't say look, nothing's going to touch the first two. The first two are excellent movies. But again, as Iain said, that I'm kind of trying to wrap my head into this too, is that a lot of movies are not made for us anymore. They're made for a completely
They're trying to reach
alien, to use the phrase, audience that doesn't have...
Just to follow, I think audiences are diluted too because there's so many avenues for entertainment. So
yes,
you have to do a catch-all in that regard.
I could not agree more. And that's the thing is I at certain points, I look at movies and go, okay, this isn't made for me. Am I accepting that or not?
Yes.
Because I don't watch stuff if I don't enjoy it. But I also try to know what I'm getting into. And I go, can I accept this on its terms? If I can't, you know, like people talk about hate watching. I do not fucking understand this concept. Don't hate watch something. Don't watch something to be miserable. Why? What is the point of that? Don't make yourself miserable over something.
It gives those people talking points that they feel are valid because it's like we've known people who don't like Marvel movies, but they will constantly just keep going and watching the next Marvel movie so that they can stand there and go, I didn't enjoy that, and tell you why they didn't enjoy it. It's like, well, why did you fucking go and watch it?
Yeah, I try to avoid that's the people with negative vacuums, and you just should avoid those people. Unfortunately.
And that's kind of, I stopped watching Marvel after Endgame because I was bored of the formula, which is why I actually want to watch Wonder Man because from what I've read, it's self-contained. Except for the loose references, it's basically in its own thing and it just ends. And I'm all for something that just ends and is done. Because that's what I kind of miss about the first Marvel movies. Yeah, there was a little Avengers tease, but really, had those other movies never come about, you still would like the original, like core four. They still would have worked. You still would have watched the first Captain America, Thor, Iron Man, and what's the other one I'm forgetting? I'm forgetting a fourth one. Those would have been fine.
Yeah.
But now they can't be. They have to be a tease with another tease, with another tease, within a tease, within a bait thing, within a show that has to lead to... No, fuck you. No. I can just watch a movie be done.
Building and growing constantly. But yeah, obviously it did run out of steam with their change in direction and... you know, basically all the original Avengers are almost gone. So the new cast that they were trying to develop through TV shows just not good enough.
Yeah, but I also think that that's the new generation of TV watchers. Like, how many people I know who watch a TV show and then will jump into a new TV show straight after and a new TV show straight after. So Marvel was, I wouldn't say the birthplace of it, but they're like, oh, we've got this TV show, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, you don't want to watch that? Here's Iron Fist. Oh, you don't want to watch that? Here's Daredevil. Here's Jessica Jones. Here's She-Hulk. Here's fucking, you know, fucking Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show.
I mean, Disney was a brand new streaming service, so streaming services live or die on their content.
Yeah.
And so that was when they were greenlighting all these shows because they had to fill a demand for content.
Yeah.
You know, quality was second or third or bottom of the, you know, what was needed to be done. It just needed stuff to be clicked on.
But now they own that. And so then when younger people get given their account to go on Disney Plus from their parents, they've got this plethora of new stuff that they can watch, which is age appropriate.
Yeah.
Which isn't, you know, too woke for them because they're already a new woke generation while their last woke generation's already gone. And there's a new TV show coming out. Like Jody said.
Because it could have worked if they maintained quality through all those shows with good writing. But obviously they spread themselves too thin. We've seen this in the past when companies do that. The quality goes downhill and the audience walks away.
But here's also the crazy idea. What happens if you don't know what the quality is because you are inventing the quality as it is?
Huh?
Well, take, for example, She-Hulk. Right? When She-Hulk came out, I knew in my heart that She-Hulk was going to be a failure before the first episode dropped because nobody's a real fan of She-Hulk. Like
She's a fourth wall breaking character.
she has
though.
comics, yeah. She has comics and she has some games, but she is a B, maybe a C
because
star
Hulk-
character behind the rest of them.
Because she is then, unfortunately,
She's
she
a
is
Hulk.
a second Hulk, and
She's a
then,
Hulk.
therefore, the female version
Yeah.
of Hulk.
Right. But you are going to make a TV series about a female Hulk. So as a comic book fan myself, I already knew that Hulk would be smart.
Yep,
she
she's
would
a lawyer,
be
isn't she?
funny.
Yeah.
She'll be lawyer and she'll be super strong, so she'll be able to fight most people. Trying to sell that to TV show watchers who are not fans of any of those things was a big risk. And Disney went, nope, here's eight episodes. We'll throw it out. And now we get the picture of She-Hulk doing a fucking butt shake with Megan Thee Stallion. And that is now out there in the world.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
So I'll tell you my thoughts on She-Hulk. Because She-Hulk, I don't disagree. I think the problem is they didn't do it correctly because there's two major problems with She-Hulk. Because yes, She-Hulk is basically a female, less powerful Hulk. That's the character. If you don't know who She-Hulk is, it's Bruce Banner's cousin. She got into a car accident and Bruce transfused his blood into her. This is how much of a fucking nerd I am. I remember all this. Transfused his blood into her, making her into a nicer version of the Hulk where when she's the Hulk, she's not a mindless brute like Bruce was.
Yeah.
And she's very smart and she's a lawyer. Now, you could have taken that. Do not make the Hulk CG. Wrong. Bad.
Yeah.
Just get a jacked, gorgeous woman. They fucking exist. And just have her play She-Hulk.
But she has to look like the actress who's playing Jennifer. And you have to establish the weak Jennifer so that when she becomes the She-Hulk, you're like, oh, she's got all this power now, and her friends get to point the finger and say, oh, you're letting the power go to your head just in case they decide to go with those characters.
I agree, but the way you do that is you do what they did in Captain America, where you take the bodybuilder's face and graft it onto a smaller woman. And you just do less of that and have her most of the time being the She-Hulk, which is what she is in the comics.
They couldn't because they've already spent all that money with Mark Ruffalo, making Mark Ruffalo look like a Hulk.
We've got to pay these people we've already hired.
We can just do that with the tech. And I'm not arguing with you. It was a really bad idea because I looked at the special effects and I'm like, this. I tapped out before the first episode. I was like, I'm not watching She-Hulk. But I don't watch Marvel TV shows or DC TV shows because I'm like, there is no way I'm going to find any suspense in the fact that you're not going to hurt or kill these characters. Like, I've got a whole thing about Smallville that I won't get into. But what I was meaning is also with She-Hulk done now, they've got this TV show that wasn't that much of a success, but they own it and they can come back to it at any point.
Well, they didn't delete it like they did Willow. So.
Yeah, and it's not shelved like Batgirl.
Right.
But Joe, I was going to say, going back to She-Hulk, when they brought in Scar, that was a slap in the face.
I agree. I could not agree more. I mean, I watched the first episode and I immediately knew, nope, they're not doing what I want here. I was willing to give it a shot because I just maybe more of a peek into my headspace than people want. I would watch a jacked woman beating the shit out of people for a whole series of episodes with no problem. I'm okay with that, especially if she's sweaty and she has long, dark hair. That works really well for me. Hence, why I like Hong Kong action films with female leads.
Watch more China episodes, yeah.
Yeah. Cynthia Rothrock is like in a shrine above my fucking monitor, or she should be. I love that woman.
Yeah.
You know, she was blonde. I let it go because she's so awesome and I don't care. And she's got amazing fucking legs. So anyway, back to She-Hulk. The thing there is that because the Boston Legal series, I always liked that because it was a funny lawyer series with a couple of wacky leads. Just do that with She-Hulk. She-Hulk's funny. Yeah. Her page or assistant or whatever is funny. There's your whole show.
She-Hulk would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and I don't want to be hearing, and I know this is not what you're saying, Ian, as defense, but Disney cannot say to anybody, me, anybody else, we don't want to spend the money. Fuck you. You have more money than most companies.
Sexist bigots and all these other things now because we don't like it. What? No, we're not.
Exactly. So I don't want to be hearing, I don't want to spend the money from any company that's printing money enough that they could probably solve a lot of world problems, but instead we got to make a new fucking Disney ride. Oh, okay, great. Yeah. So I give a shit about you. But that's, I agree. The show was completely mishandled because they didn't make it properly. Because, like a lot of things, I don't think the people in charge really care about the source material. If they did, then they would have made She-Hulk, because the She-Hulk comic could be very funny. I remember reading it on and off when I was younger. I was never necessarily a fan, but I did like the fact that it was a Hulk that wasn't mindless, because that kind of... I liked the Bill Bixby series and everything, and I enjoyed Hulk comics here and there, but after a while, it's like, okay, he's going to turn to the Hulk, he's going to trash something, and then he'll turn back into Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner has to go hide. Like, there's the formula. We got it. Formulas have been around for a long time. Where She-Hulk seemed to be having fun at being muscly and smart, which... yeah, that sounds like it's probably fun. So I would have watched that series, but instead, like you said, it's, okay, she's going to twerk in this episode. I guess that's funny, but are we going to remember it 10 years from now outside of the gag? No. And then Scar? Are we going to set any of this up? Oh, no, we're just going to have it there so that some nerd somewhere goes, oh, Scar! And then we forget about it and nobody cares anymore. And that's it.
I hated it because I caught the sequence with him coming out at the end. And I was like, so you've had this really great success with the Planet Hulk comic. You've brought in the son of the Hulk. You've got this whole backdrop you can do, but you haven't explained any of it. And we're just hoping that you might make a film at some point to branch the two of them to give us this established character.
I think Universal still retains the rights to the Hulk, so I don't know.
Well, no, obviously I think it's all under Marvel, which is under Disney as well.
Yeah,
but it harkened back to me because I remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when that TV show came out, and you had Agent Coulson running around. So then when the film came out, Avengers Assemble, he got killed in that.
Right.
So then in the TV series, they brought him back by magic.
Yeah, but I don't think any of that's actually official. What happened in S.H.I.E.L.D.
But once again, going back with the She-Hulk thing, they've got this 4-season TV series that is on Disney Plus that you can watch. That isn't part of any of that is part of the films, but isn't part of any of the films. You can pick and choose if you want to keep it as canon, but it doesn't have to be canon. You can watch it whenever you want. But when you do, it might make a difference. If not, we might bring it back in the future, but we don't care because we don't listen to really the source material of any of the franchises we own, because we're trying to make everybody happy, but we haven't got enough money to make everybody happy, so we only make ourselves happy, and you can just buy tickets for it.
Well, it was like they were just trying to make content because there was only like one film every couple of years, and so like, we don't have a TV show, keep people's interest. And then they just dialed that to 11, didn't they? With just mass producing TV shows everywhere. So they can establish all these characters for the cinematic universe, but unfortunately, all of it was slop, so people stopped turning up for the main events.
Give it a couple of years.
But I'll be curious to see with the new next year, is it? The next, is it Doomsday? With Robert Downey coming back, with all the Avengers coming back, with the X-Men crossing over.
Give it a couple of years. Disney are going to own Star Trek, and they're going to own DC. I'm telling you, it's. I know it sounds crazy that Disney will own the monopoly.
No, it doesn't. I completely agree. It does not sound crazy.
Between Amazon, Netflix, and Disney.
It will be a big war, but who is going to who is going to last it? Because, like we just said, we're coming off our conversation about Predator, right? We all love Predator, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
absolutely.
Do any of us still own the physical copies of Predator the movie?
Yes.
I've got the DVD.
I have
you
both
have the DVD,
on Blu-ray.
Blu-rays and copies.
The 4K of the original, and I have the Blu-ray of Predator 2. I don't know if they made a 4K. If they did, I'll have to get Predator 2. I can't remember now.
So, but unless you're fans like us who own the physical, the only other place you're going to be able to watch this film is through streaming, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is on Disney.
Yeah, it is now, only. Yeah.
So you would have to sign up to Disney to watch these films. And they are picking up more. Recently, I just realized this week alone when I went on to see what was new on Disney, they have the entire Quentin Tarantino collection on there. Now, the last place I saw those movies on were Netflix. Netflix had them, but then they started to drip and drab off. And now Disney.
Well, it was Miramax. It was obviously the company which I don't know who their parent company was.
They're buying up all these new things. I just noticed as well, ITVX, which is a UK based ITV channel over here, they're on Disney now. And I was amazed, right? Because Coronation Street. I don't know if Joe's ever heard of Coronation Street.
I have heard of it. I've not seen it, but I've heard of it.
Long running English TV show about some street in Manchester where these people just live together around this pub, and it's been going since the 1950s. That's all on fucking Disney.
The whole lot.
Like, I believe
you can binge watch.
You can binge watch
60 years, 70 years.
Now, the funny thing is ITVX, the subscription site, is free. You can sign up to it for free and watch all these things.
Wait, do you need a TV license to watch ITV?
No. It's
not yet.
It's free, but it's on the internet. The fact that Disney have it,
yeah,
I'm like, who's paying who? Who, like, has ITVX come to Disney and gone, we'll give you money?
Disney's buying it. They're renting it for however long. Yeah.
We'll rent it, but why? Why would you rent this TV show from the 1950s?
Somebody wants to watch it.
I think it's because they want to keep older people subscribing. As well as younger people.
And
so if the older
content.
people are paying the bill, which, let's be honest, in the United States right now, a lot of young people are out of work, so their parents are going to have to pay for their shit. So that's the only way you're going to keep the parents paying for it, is to have stuff they go, oh yeah, I remember seeing this, because my exposure as a kid, I saw a lot of British television because my parents both worked, so I stayed with my grandmother, and she would put on stuff that she thought was safe. And so I saw a lot of British television before I ever got really interested in it, but I was familiar with it. Like, I remember seeing Red Dwarf really young and not really understanding, but I saw, spaceship. And so I've grown up really loving British television and specifically British humor. Like, Red Dwarf's one of my favorite series, IT Crowd, all that type of stuff. I like British humor in many cases more than American humor, because it is different, which again is why when people say, oh, everything's funny the same. No, it is not. No, I'm sorry. It is not. Watch British television, watch American comedy. One is shit and one is good. And spoiler alert, it's not the American stuff.
The American stuff.
So that's why when they tried to remake Red Dwarf, it was a fucking disaster.
It was great to see that, actually, just to highlight the difference in the humor. And it's like it did not translate well. But then you look at The Office, which did translate incredibly well.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to look at.
Yeah, I'm not going to say there's never a permanent rule. It's not like it can never happen, but it's absolutely rare to transfer it over. And most of the time when they try it, American audiences generally don't embrace it, because if you're not into British humor, you either have to do two things. One, you have to change it into American humor, which almost never works, or you try to emulate it, but an American audience watching an American sitcom is looking for Friends, not Red Dwarf, and they're not going to get that that's a different thing. So again, if you only see American shit, you sort of become conditioned to it. That's why I think a lot of the American film industry remakes the same shit. It's because a lot of kids grow up and see the same things over and over. So they expect the same things over and over. So they're just remaking over and over because that's the style that everybody knows. But then you just become artistically stagnant. So it's no good. So that's why I do tend to I'd be okay with risks even if they fail, because I'm like, well, at least you're fucking trying. You're trying.
Yeah. But that's the strange thing about art and entertainment I've found over the 43 years I've been alive, is that whenever we think it's becoming stagnant, somebody comes along with something that is new and refreshing, but is actually making you remember of something that you used to watch, but it's not the same, but it kind of is the same. Like you take something as easy as Friends. Yeah, Friends, 10 years of a TV series of these 6 people getting together. Now, you can literally replicate that same idea in 4 corners of the world, all over the place, and just replace the people as natives of that land, talking about native things that they do in that land, and make it a comedy for those people just in those land. But it's when you then watch it, when you're in one land and you're watching it from somebody else, you start to also relate to it, because, oh yeah, it's completely different. Yeah, we're British. The Americans are Friends. They're doing hockey games and football games and basketball games, and we don't understand that. But we understand when they start talking about relationships and they start talking about, spending time with their families. That's the real relatable stuff. TV shows, especially nowadays, we've just come off the back of Stranger Things. That was this kind of generation's new Red Dwarf / Friends /
It is probably the most iconic TV show of the last 10 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
for the amount of people who are aware of it.
Because it was so rare, and so new, but also regurgitating and replaying all the
All
stuff
the
that-
old ideas, yeah.
all the ideas of the 70s and the 80s in these movies, but then adding in all these new action, dramatic moments. You know, it's like we said with like The Walking Dead as well. The Walking Dead is basically Friends, but with zombies. Like if Chandler wanted to go around and started chopping people's heads off because he thought they were murderers with baseball bats. You know,
I'd watch more Friends.
you can't relate on them because of the survival aspect because we've never been in that situation, but we can relate on them with the drama and the relationships that they're building with friends, of if they should trust these people or if they should go out and, you know, make new friends and bring in new characters, but then we kill those characters off, so that we get all upset, and it makes me it's goes over and regurgitates over and over again. I have to stop after a while because there's so many TV shows.
There are, but I mean, I still struggle to like find stuff to watch. I still feel like there's not enough genre television. I'm like, there's so many reality shows and game shows and I don't know, shows that are just about innate stuff. I'm like,
But it's what really
where's the other
captures.
fantasy stuff. And I'm like, oh, they did Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why there's not more of this stuff. 'Cause
Yeah,
it costs that much to make, and it's terrible.
yeah.
Well, it's still around. It is hard to find because you're right. We're kind of just drowned in stuff that is completely and utterly forgettable. But that's again because Ian, when you were asking about foreign stuff, I was thinking about like Midnight Diner on Netflix,
Yeah.
which I'd never heard about, and then I happened to see somebody said, "Oh, Midnight Diner is a really fun show if you're sick of seeing the same old stuff." And I watched it, I'm like, "Oh, this is really different." There is no chance this would make it on mainstream American television, but at least it exists in a form I can get to it.
Yeah.
And sure, I'm sure I could have found some, VPN powered way to see it in the original, but then it probably wouldn't have been subtitled. Like, I don't know what anybody's saying. At least there's subtitles with it now. And so that stuff does exist. It is, and like, not everything that is regurgitated or attempting to redo things is bad. Like Lando and I just watched Black Dynamite a week or two ago, and I
Nice.
point to
Awesome,
that
yeah.
as, because when Tarantino and Rodriguez did the Grindhouse movies and people are like, oh, they're bringing back that Grindhouse style.
Yeah.
I like Death Proof a lot. Planet Terror is
Yeah.
fun, but it's very obvious that they're painting it with that old patina, whereas Black Dynamite
Yes.
feels like if I told somebody that was made in the 70s, outside of one or two giveaways, they would believe it because
You
it
would
is
believe it,
made
yeah.
so
faithfully
That
close
fucking
to
movie
it.
is
Or
amazing.
So authentic,
Right.
to
Yeah.
it, indeed, yeah,
Yeah, outside of a couple of
Planet
giveaways.
Terror, Death Proof was so much. It was so fakely Grindhouse,
Over the top.
Yes.
like with the scratched
Yes.
film. It was just like all the hallmarks that people that obviously they don't know Grindhouse cinema just think what Grindhouse cinema is.
Yeah.
But at least it brought
by
some
the way,
attention to it.
Lando has never seen Kill Pussycat. No, what is it? Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Kill, Kill.
I'm going to expose him to
Yeah.
that fucking movie very, very shortly.
Awesome.
You know what you got to sit him down to watch as well? You got to get him to watch Hobo with a Shotgun.
That's great.
That is on my
Martin, yeah.
list. Yep, that's on my list.
Turbo Kid
That's fine. Yeah.
and
Okay.
Manborg.
Man, boy.
Oh, I've seen Manborg. I've seen that. He hasn't. Yeah. No, I'm trying to do themes now. Like February is all Black History Month, so we're doing all movies that are primarily black cast, either in front or behind the camera, which has been really, really good because
Color Purple. Got to do Color Purple with him.
we've both seen that. I'm trying to do stuff we haven't seen.
Oh, new stuff, yeah,
or lesser known. Like he picked the Mr. Hyde one. I'm gonna completely lay the blame on his feet if that's a detonator. I'm gonna be like, that's your fault, man. You picked that.
Yeah.
Like we watched the original Trouble Man. That was very good. We watched The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which I didn't know from the title if that was going to be a bad one to watch, but it's actually really interesting. And
Nice.
I'm sure a lot of white supremacists were very pissed at what that movie was saying, which is why we enjoyed it. And it's just very well written. But I'm trying to do theme stuff. So we are going to do black and white. So we're going to do Obex, which I'd never heard of, but it looks like an interesting movie. I think it's from last year. What was it?
Nice.
Obex, Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. And what was the other black and white one? Shit. I can't remember. Oh, it might be Failsafe. Because I think I'm like you, Ian. I fucking love Failsafe.
What, the original or the 1990
Yes, No,
Original.
no, no, the original. No, the original.
The original. I've been
Yes.
wanting Gary to do Failsafe for like the last 12 years.
Great movie. Great
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, Failsafe is I like a lot of older black and white stuff. Like I saw your 12 Angry Men review, and I'm like, oh, I'll bet you he's never seen 12 Angry Men, and that's a great movie. We got to watch that one because Lando is a writer. I'm like, I want to put movies in front of him with good writing.
Yeah. See, and I'm just gonna wiki it now, but I think an interesting one as well to put on their list just to sneak it in. It's actually a black and white filmed movie, but it was in the 90s. I think it's got Robert Downey Jr. in, and it follows like a guy doing a documentary walking around New York City, engaging with like a bunch of different people, but it's all filmed black and white. I'm just
Interesting.
wikiing it now.
Yeah, I'm not.
Another
Black
one I'll
and-
recommend for the two of you, if you haven't seen it, is the A History of the Occult. It's Brazilian, I think. It's in black and white with just specific color usage. Very, very
Nice.
good. Kind of like a cult mystery movie where you're not sure if there's actually something supernatural going on. Very, very good. We watched that one.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I keep
Yeah, I've
adding
not
to your
heard of
list of
that
movies
one.
to watch. I'm sure it's as long as mine is. Yeah, because God, the amount of movies I have that people are like, watch this. I'm like, it's on the list. The list is like 700 movies at this point. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah,
going
it's
to live
like-
long enough to see all this.
It's like no, you feel like you're never scratching the surface. There's always another 3 movies to take the place of the one you've just watched.
Yeah.
But that is the antidote to the problems we've been talking about. Is as much as people say there's nothing original, there's nothing new. Guess what? There
But you need
is.
to
You
go
just have to
back
go
to-
look for it. It does exist. And you just have to be willing to get a little bit outside of what you're used to and take a chance on something. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of garbage too. They've always made terrible movies.
Totally.
They've always existed. But there's also a lot of stuff that, because there's a lot of people I know, like my wife can't watch animation because she thinks it's for kids. It's just her mindset. It's just she can't see it. And I'm like, God damn it. You will never see Akira. You'll never see Ghost in the Shell. You'll never see Megazone 23. You'll never see, well, I probably wouldn't have her watch Ninja Scroll because I think someone would have offense with some of the stuff. in
She
that.
might like
But-
Spirited Away.
Oh God, Spirited Away is so beautiful. I love that film
Yeah,
so much.
I probably could get her to watch that one if I made an effort at it. But it's like I said, I understand that certain people just see cartoons as cartoons and not as stuff
Yeah.
that can tell adult stories, which is unfortunate. But you know, because I mean, Akira is like one of my foundation films. That was one of the first movies I saw that really blew me away, and I just remember seeing it for the first time on this little CRT in a comic book store. It's the part where Tetsuo is starting to become part of the throne. And I looked at it and I was
and
like,
his
what
flesh
the
arm.
fuck is this? And then I
Yeah.
got way into Japanese animation. But Akira's a movie. I mean, I saw it when they re-released it in theaters. That movie is so beautiful. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
emotionally affecting to me to watch that movie.
Yeah, I think almost everyone remembers their first time with Akira, especially if they saw it at a young age.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, deeply affected by it. Because that was the first time I'd seen in a film somebody being, in a cartoon, somebody being gunned down by machine guns. I was like, what?
Oh yeah, and it's in the first like 10 minutes and it's brutal. I mean,
Exactly.
they
So I
fucking
was like,
shoot
this
that
is
guy into
something I've
pieces.
never seen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
mean,
so-
yeah, I'm. It's rare for me to watch animated stuff. I don't
Oh,
mind
really?
obviously animated films, but I don't really watch anime or anything like that.
No.
Although I have that, like a lot of people are just like, oh, Gary, you don't give these because we've had a few Patreon records. We've had a couple of
Yeah, we've done
animated
animated films.
and it was just like, but we're doing like chapter 7 of like a 500 bloody series kind of thing. It's like one installment where these characters have got history and futures that I've got no idea about, and trying to like jump into this universe, and I'm just
Wait,
out
wait,
of my
wait, wait, wait,
element.
wait, wait, wait a minute. So have the two of you not seen Ghost in the Shell?
No, I have.
Okay.
It's
You've watched it a long time. See,
yeah, a long time ago for that
like I
one.
said, going back to our history on films and stuff, here in the UK, you know, it was super rare for certain films to be released outside of the countries, like anime movies outside of Japan. And then when you had Akira come out, and then that became a success, then the comic books started to come out, but they were still relatively only being found in the small underground comic book stores that you would go to buy the anime.
We didn't have many of those.
And we didn't have many of those. You'd have to go out of the city to really order them and then find them. We had friends who would be able to purchase the videotapes from catalogs, and then we would borrow them and be like, oh wow, Ninja Scroll, that's fucking sweet, and Ghost in the Shell is fucking sweet. I remember Channel 4 used to do anime movies like really late at night. I remember watching like Legend of the Four Kings and Cyber City 08008 at like 2 o'clock in the morning on Channel 4. So to me, I've always loved animation ever since I was watching He-Man and Thundercats as a kid. So now you're giving me these movies that are animations that are doing these crazy fucking things. I'll eat that up as well. When they became super popular, and you had your Virgin Megastores and your Blockbusters, they would then have their own subsequent sectors that you would go to that were still relatively small because they only had the most popular films that you would order. But once you bought that film, you would then have a catalog number that you could then buy the extra movies that you could buy. And even then they were super rare because only the most popular stories got converted into films and stuff. So yeah, going back, I mean, Gary watched a few and then was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not into anime like that. And then I was just eating everything up.
Cultural thing. I just kind of just didn't like some of the, I don't know, I would say it's the Japanese stereotype type thing.
I was going to say, you're not a big Kung Fu movie martial arts fan either.
No,
Like Jackie Chan.
I actually prefer American martial arts.
Yeah, Gary will easily take a Jean-Claude Van Damme over a Jackie Chan any day. And
I do.
he's wrong.
No, I am. But that's my preference.
It's what you prefer in martial arts. I tend to prefer the Hong Kong stuff. I like it because, well, especially because in the older stuff there wasn't face replacement and a lot of stunt doubles. People were doing their own stuff, which I always tend to appreciate. But I also do like the American action stuff too. It's not like I don't love the Van Damme movies and like Die Hard and all the big action explosion guns type of stuff. That's all fine too. So it's just different flavors of it. But in my heart, I love the Hong Kong stuff because Jesus Christ, some of the stuff those people were doing was just, I mean, it was dangerous as hell.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
The stunt work is so impressive.
Yeah.
It really is. That's why I think one of the movies I suggested was Yes, Madam.
For me is where I don't find myself invested. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, I wanted to come back around that. I've actually, because I haven't had a chance to tell you this, Ian, as well, but I've actually gotten myself into a new Japanese anime that I'm absolutely adoring.
Oh my God, I'm
completely in love with it.
What's it called?
Free Ren.
All right, okay, not heard of it.
The premise is, and this is where I was like, this show is going really deep places. I will preface it moves at a glacial pace.
Yeah,
so it's very slow.
Good.
But the idea of it is, it's traditional Dungeons and Dragons group. You got a warrior, you got a priest, you got a mage, elf, and a dwarf.
Right,
and they've been partying for 10 years, and they defeated the big bad.
Okay,
and then the story jumps like 60 years. And most of the last surviving members of that party are dying of old age.
Okay.
But for the elf, she just went off somewhere and read some books and then came back and went, oh shit, everyone's dead and you're old and dying. Like, so for her, it was nothing. Like,
right.
Because she lives for thousands of years.
Elf. Yeah.
She's an elf. She lives for thousands of years. So then she came to the understanding, like, they were friends. She meant a lot to them, but to her, she was like, I kind of blinked and you all died. So, but the show is then about her moving through the world. She ends up adopting a little girl who's obviously aging normally as well.
Yeah.
But it's her learning to understand and make connections with people that have meaning and understanding. So it's all about after the journey with this elf. But yeah, it's like 20-odd-minute episodes. They move pretty slow, but it's really thoughtful, really great animation, art style characters.
You say move slow, you never watched Dragon Ball. That moves slow.
Oh, what's... Yeah. Is that like where you have episodes where it's like 20 minutes of them just in combat scenes?
Yeah, just
yelling at each
talking
other?
What they're going to do, and so you have to wait for the next episode for them to do what they were about to do.
So yeah, it's stuff like that.
Okay. All right, number one, Gary, spell the name of the thing so I make sure I get it right in the notes. Spell it.
Yep. Give me 1 second. It is called Frien. It's Free Ren.
Got it.
And it's called Beyond Journey's End.
I'm just typing it because I'll make sure I reference it. Okay.
Yeah, because when I say Free Ren, you're just like, Free Ren? Is that like WREN?
Yeah.
Like Ren?
I mean, I was close. I was attempting to phonetically spell it. I got close. I didn't have an I in there, though. But I also didn't know if it was one word or multiple words because sometimes they put an apostrophe and it's one word. It's like, well, that's kind of cheating. But okay, I got it. Okay, I'm going to say, if you want to see the slowest goddamn thing in your life, which I watched the whole 45 minutes through, there is a Canadian experimental film titled Wavelength. And it is, I'm not kidding, it is a 45-minute slow zoom onto a picture frame in an apartment that takes place over a series of days. I'm not saying I recommend it, but after watching that...
Watch it on double speed, maybe?
I'll be honest.
Nothing is slow after that. I fucking reviewed it on our show. A 45-minute slow pan. It's like kind of famous for being
I watched
what the hell is this type of thing?
years later.
Yeah, you know what? It might be better from what I've heard, but all right.
It's over in half the time.
That's true. It is short. It is less than an hour. I often say, hey, at least you're not going to burn much time on it. It burns some of your life, but not much time. So let me wrap things up by asking both of you a question. Lando actually asked me this a couple shows ago, and it's an interesting question because it's a specific one in terms of movies. So he asked me if I was stuck in a time loop, and every night when I came home, the same movie was on at the end of the day. Whatever happened during the day, good, bad, whatever. What would I want that movie to be? So I'm going to ask each of you. It doesn't, not necessarily your favorite movie, but imagining that you go through a normal day, and at 8 o'clock when you turn the TV on, this movie will play every night of that time loop. What would each of you pick?
Well, just specific. Sorry, my brain's gone deep now. So when I wake up the next day and go through the day, do I remember that film is going to be playing every night when I go home? Or is it new, fresh?
The way he's phrased it, you would remember. So that makes the choice interesting because you have to be willing to watch the same movie over and over and over.
Oh, I've got like 10. You can go first.
Oh, the first one is easy for me. It's Evil Dead 2.
Nice.
The horror, the comedy, the slapstick, and I always just like, well, at least no matter what happens to me today, hopefully it's not as bad as what's happening to Ash in Evil Dead 2.
That's a good one. See, I'm going to go with John Carpenter's The Thing because it's one of the greatest movies ever made. But now I'm also thinking... See, like Dogma's pretty good and you get that dance with Salma Hayek in it.
Well, you could watch From Dusk Till Dawn and
you could watch From Dusk Till Dawn
dance.
every single night. That's what I'm saying.
Boy.
Like,
That's a tough call between Salma Hayek dances. Boy, you got me thinking on that one.
Exactly. If I'm in purgatory and I'm like, oh man, I'm just going to go home and relive this whole day over tomorrow, but I get to go home and watch.
You got Salma Hayek. I've got Henrietta.
Hey man, you keep your
I need to really good choices.
So it's like I could easily watch The Dark Knight over and over again every night because The Dark Knight is one of the most cinematic masterpieces. If I really want to go crazy, like I could watch Tenet over and over again. Maybe while I'm in eternity, I'm rewatching it. Maybe I can finally try to understand it.
Yeah, you just got to watch it a million times.
Watch it a million times. But no, I think I'll just go with John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 for me.
Okay.
Great
yeah, like I said, he
there,
asked me that, and I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting. I went with Ghost in the Shell because... And the reason was, not that it's my favorite movie, but because any point that I come into that movie, I don't care that I missed some of it. So if I got home at 8:10 or whatever, if the loop was slightly off, I would still be okay with it.
You know it already.
Yeah, that was my criteria. So I said it's not my favorite movie, but that's the one if I had to have it on loop. And I just think it's a beautiful movie. Like Akira is too, but I want to see Akira from the beginning. When I sit down and watch Akira, I turn my phone off, I make sure nobody's bugging me, and I watch that movie beginning to end. I don't do that shit where I'm on the phone or talking. No. I'm watching fucking Akira. Shut up and go away. Like I'll catch back up within an hour or two. So
what's your favorite film, though?
Yeah,
what's my favorite
film, Joe?
It probably is Akira because I'm an artist. I look at that movie differently than I think some people do because I see all the effort. This is one of the things that bugs me about AI, and we're not going to start on this because it'll be 2 hours, but I am aware of what the effort is to animate. I thought about doing it when I was younger in art school and realized I could never do it. It was way too much effort and work, and I'm just not good enough at it. But when I see that movie,
frame animation or
but I see all that work, and I know how they painted each of those buildings and all that stuff, and to make that movie so gorgeous and so beautifully animated, the effort, the money, the time. It is like it's like a religious thing. Every time I watch it, I almost do start to tear up because I'm just like, this is so powerful in terms of what was achieved in making this thing. And So that's probably my favorite movie but then if you ask me on a different day, it'll be Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension because that movie's so fucking off the wall.
It's been on our list forever.
Yeah.
Great movie. But realistically, it would have to be Akira, I think.
Great.
I just love it. I just adore that movie.
Yeah.
So Gary has a tabletop evening planned, so we're going to get Ian and Gary out of here because they were kind enough to stop by. And I'm not going to get in the way of anybody's tabletop games because that's something very valuable. Get away from a screen.
Battlestar Galactica this evening.
My wife and I during the pandemic really started. Okay, we're not going to watch something tonight. We're going to play a game. We have to do something where there's no screens involved, and that's just a really. I think it's a very beneficial thing to just kind of not look at a screen for a couple hours, especially with other people. Yeah. So I'm going to get them out of here. I will remind everybody that their channel is titled Off the Shelf Reviews, which I am a big fan of. They have a Patreon, which I assume is patreon.com/offtheshelfreviews, but I didn't check it beforehand.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And I've been speaking with Gary Nicholls and Iain Buckingham.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Jim.
It's been wonderful.
Yep, this was an absolute blast. Thank you both for coming on. And for everybody else, like I said, I will have links to the movies we've talked about. Not all of them, because I can't have a 15-page show note. But I'll hit the highlights of it, and I will, of course, have a link over to their channel. And on that note, everybody, thanks for hanging out for a while. And go watch some good movies and take a chance on something. Take a chance on something you wouldn't ordinarily like. But as I always say, if you're not enjoying it 10 minutes in, then stop. Don't feel committed. But give a random movie a 10-minute chance and see what you like, because you just never know. And then you might be like us, where you just can't escape, and it's a wonderful black hole vortex to be caught in. So, all right, everybody. You could turn into us. Don't you want to do that? Thanks for being here.
Join us.
Visit OzoneNightmare.com to subscribe to new episodes, browse through our back catalog, or to find links to support the show. Follow @OzoneNightmare on Twitter for the latest episode postings and other show information. If 280 characters just isn't enough, you can always email us, theozonenightmare@gmail.com. Music for Ozone Late Night is provided by Ogre. Visit ogresounds.bandcamp.com to hear and purchase his fantastic selection of music.